right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Bob Pompeani here, Andrew Fillipponi there, which is 93.7 The Fan. You can hit us up by calling 412-575-2600 or on X or Twitter, whatever you prefer. It's at KD Pomp, at the Pony Express. And the big news today out of the Steeler press conference is that a couple of guys could be close to returning, Joey Porter Jr. and Deshaun Elliott, although when you think about the bye week that lies ahead, it might be best for them just to wait another week. We'll see how that goes. And Jordan Addison's going to be back for Minnesota. He missed 3 games with a suspension for a DUI. Carson Wentz, their quarterback, he will be there again after taking over for J.J. McCarthy, who was injured last week. And Andrew, quite frankly, I think if you were the Steelers, ask them realistically who they'd rather face. I would assume it would be McCarthy, given his inexperience. Wentz has a lot of experience, including a run at MVP at one point.
Well, Mike Tomlin made that very clear today. He started talking about Minnesota with Carson Wentz. He wants to get the message out to his players that this is not your garden variety backup quarterback. And this is a guy who's beaten the Steelers before when he was in Philadelphia. And a guy that he used, he made Anthony Richardson a guy that he threw right under the bus to try to illustrate the point that backups can be better than starters, Bob, when he said, I told my guys in Indy, don't let Anthony Richardson get hurt because I don't want to play Joe Flacco. And guess what happened? Joe Flacco went in and played and beat the Steelers.
Played well.
Yeah, and so Anthony Richardson probably didn't think during his lunch break today that he was going to get kind of indirectly ripped, but he did. And I agree with Tomlin. I think Carson Wentz right now is better than J.J. McCarthy. And they are getting a very important player back in Jordan Addison to go with Jefferson, Hockenson. Their offensive line is better now that Darisaw has returned at left tackle. And Jordan Mason's coming off a big game against Cincinnati as well. So you've got Kevin O'Connell. That's going to be a chess match, Kevin O'Connell versus Mike Tomlin. And so is Arthur Smith versus Brian Flores. And my goodness, did Mike Tomlin lavish praise on Brian Flores today? And it made you wonder, why did you let that guy leave? He was in your building. If he's that kind of great mind, promote him to defensive coordinator and let him do that job here as opposed to in Minnesota, Bob.
Yeah, well, he chose not to do that. He went to Minnesota. He's been really good, and I assume he's going to be a head coach here not too soon, not too far down the line, given what he's done there. And he comes at you a lot of different ways, blitzing. He'll drop people back. He'll do things you don't expect, and that's one of the reasons why, although they had no interceptions coming into that game, they picked off 2 in that game, had 5 turnovers, just like the Steelers did in that game. I want to mention Cleveland and Detroit. And I'm doing this, Andrew, in baseball only because of what's happened here. And this is what baseball could be like here potentially, and hopefully it will be next year if they go out and get some bats. But Cleveland was down 11 games back, 11 to Detroit, I think 20 days ago. And here they are tied for the lead tonight, and they got to win. And there was, I don't know if you saw the injury to David Fry, who was trying to bunt, and I don't know if the ball hit off the bat and hit him right in the face or went directly into his face, but it was a scary moment. Tarek Skubal, who delivered the pitch, looked like he was really affected by that.
Yeah, well, and the Guardians were not deterred by that because they came back and won. And they are now in first place with the tiebreaker in the American League Central. Detroit's
crazy.
been even worse than the Pirates in September here as they limp to the finish line. You're right. I mean, small market teams can win. Cleveland's doing it. We'll see what happens in the National League. If the Reds are able to hold off the Mets in their massive payroll. The Mets had a 9-7 lead going into the 9th inning tonight after the Pirates played spoiler today in Cincinnati. Cleveland has been so well run. They shed payroll this offseason. They lost those guys because of the sports gambling investigation. No Luis Ortiz, no Clase in the back end of their bullpen, and they sold guys at the trade deadline. Yeah. And here they are, looking like they're going to win the American League Central or maybe just make the wild card. Either way, back to the postseason. And that is a testament to that organization and how they've been able to replenish and reload even when they trade players, Bob, and try to manage payroll.
It's not quite like what Clint Hurdle did at Colorado when they came out of nowhere and got hot in September. But this team, Cleveland, has made up so many games. It's unbelievable. Real quick, what's a worse fade down the stretch? Is it Detroit or is it the New York Mets, who still may miss the playoffs based on what happens in the Mets?
Well, it's the Mets. It's got to be the Mets because of how much money the Mets spent. The Mets brought in Juan Soto, the biggest free agent signing in Major League Baseball history. Only the Dodgers are spending more money on players than them. And to be right around 500 and to be battling it out with the Reds and the Diamondbacks and those teams for the last playoff spot is an indictment on them. They went to the NLCS last year, Bob, and you add Juan Soto, you expect to get better, not worse.
We're going to take a break on that note. Call us, 412-575-2600. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk Steelers. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. Hockey season is underway, and the Penguins played last night in Montreal. They'll play against Columbus tomorrow. We'll get into that and much more coming up right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, KDK+. All right, welcome back, and this is our Xfinity tweet of the night from the Steelers. How about T.J. Watt? 34 forced fumbles, 5 more than anyone else since 2016. And he had a big game last week, and they really needed it, too, with 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses, recovered fumble, as that defense came up with some big plays at big times. And they're going to have to do similar stuff. Maybe you wouldn't expect 5, that's a lot, but do that against a team like Minnesota, which is high-powered on offense. And, you know, you talked about it, too, Andrew. Kevin O'Connell is one of these guys. He's like the this year's version or any version of a quarterback whisperer. He knows how to get the most out of these guys. He did it with Sam Darnold. He did it before that with Kirk Cousins. He had good things going there. There are a lot of guys in this league who can bring out the best based on scheme, based on what they do. He's one of them. He and Kyle Shanahan seem to be very similar that way.
I think that's why Aaron Rodgers might have preferred Minnesota, if not for their insistence on seeing what J.J. McCarthy could do. And I think that's probably what delayed Aaron Rodgers' decision, in addition to what was going on in his personal life, the chance to work with O'Connell, who he's known for a very long time. Minnesota is in a situation that's very unique, Bob. They're going to play 2 games in a row in Europe. They're going to play there next week as well against Cleveland, so they're going to stay over there. That's never been done before. And it's very strange to me, this whole dilemma, where apparently they didn't have fields available in Dublin, and so that delayed the Steelers and Vikings from going over there earlier, and because they didn't want to give one team the advantage, I guess, of using Croke Park over the other, that they basically told both they couldn't leave until Thursday night. And that might lead to a very sloppy game on Sunday as both teams get adjusted, but how is that possible? There's not enough soccer pitches over there to get a football practice in. That's just very strange.
Yeah, they use a lot of
that whole situation with these 2 teams.
I agree, but there was a reason, and that was it. But at least it's an even situation. Not one team's getting over there earlier, both at the same time. So we may be sloppy, or we may see a lot of big plays based on defense being sloppy. Who knows how it's going to go? Our KDK.com/connect question of the night. What are you most concerned about Sunday going into this game against the Vikings? Offense or defense? And right now, defense has the upper hand. Let's go to the phone lines right now. We have our number 1 Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night, and that would be Chuck in Uniontown. Hello, Chuck. How are you?
Thanks, fellas. Is Paul Skenes pitching for the Cy Young Award tomorrow night? Does he anything but a bomb out? Does he win it?
I thought he's already won it. Don't you, Chuck? Well, to me, it's fait accompli. Listen. I see the numbers and they go beyond wins and losses. If he loses, he could be under 500, which would be interesting to see if he would be the first, and I think he will be. Still, the odds are heavily in his favor, Andrew.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I don't know if they'll play it differently because they want to make sure he doesn't finish with a losing record. We saw last year the final game against New York for Skenes. He didn't really have a long start. So it'll be interesting. Do they keep him in the game long enough to get his ERA under 2? And that'll be a magic number for them. But as far as the Cy Young race goes, yeah, I think the hay's in the barn on that one. And he's going to win his first Cy Young, and it's going to make it look even worse that the Pirates are going to really have to win here in these final 5 games and finish with a winning record in these 5 games to get them past the 70-win mark, given what Paul Skenes has done for them every 5th day throughout this baseball season to be the most dominant pitcher in the entire sport.
Yeah, I mean, starting pitching generally has been above average for them. even beyond Skenes, and their bullpen has been pretty good. And tonight we saw Hunter Barco make his MLB debut. He pitched 1 inning, got a win tonight. Had a couple of guys on base, but got out of it with a forced play at second base. Back to the lines we go. It's JB in Shadyside. Hello, JB.
Hey, how are you guys tonight?
Good. What's up?
Good. 2 things. One is I'm pretty bullish on Will Howard. I have a good feeling based on he won a national championship, so I kind of feel like he's got the mental toughness to be our quarterback of the future. The other thing is I would let Aaron Rodgers call the game offensively. How do you feel about that? I think he'd be better than Smith.
I think he can adjust. He has. He's changed the play. He has the autonomy to do that. And in many ways, there are times where he is calling the game based on what he sees out there, but he's not going to override the offensive coordinator. They have a game plan going into it. As far as Howard, I tend to agree. Not that he'd be a franchise quarterback. It's too early to say that, Andrew, but they don't know much beyond what they saw, and what they saw they liked before his injury. We'll see next year. They're going to draft probably another quarterback, but I would give this kid a shot, even if you take a first-round pick. Just see how he plays in the preseason.
Yeah, I know you and I are higher on Will Howard than most, but we were also higher on Daniel Jones than most people going into the season. So maybe the two of us were onto something, Bob. Look, the whole draft situation for the Steelers has become very muddled. Given the way that the quarterbacks have performed, the draft-eligible ones to start the college football season, Arch Manning has obviously struggled. We've seen others, high-profile guys. Lenore Sellers got injured at South Carolina. He's come back. He's been good, but I wouldn't say he's blown people's socks off there. Carson Beck had a good game against Notre Dame. Other than that, still kind of iffy. I don't think Drew Aller, even against subpar competition, has looked like a big-time guy. Nussmeier at LSU, they've won a lot with defense. They've played low-scoring games. Klubnik at Clemson has been a disaster. And now you've got the whole comp pick formula, Bob. The calculations there don't look good.
No.
Because Najee Harris is done for the year. Sorry to hear that with him. And Russell Wilson's been benched in New York. Exactly. So where are these comp picks coming from now? Dan Moore, you figure. Maybe Dante Jackson with the Chargers, although that won't be much. And it also depends on how much Justin Fields plays in New York. His injury status, how much he plays when he returns. So they thought they were going to get record-setting comp picks back. That's not going to happen now. And those were picks that people thought could be used to move up and down the draft board.
Yeah, another quarterback you didn't mention, and that assessment you gave was absolutely spot on with these quarterbacks and why you have to wait for the entire year to play out. But John Mateer is doing it really well. And I've looked at some of the odds. He's moving up the board really quickly. He seems to have the leadership qualities, the arm, just the way he does his thing out there in Oklahoma. Looks like actually a good guy to watch as you move forward. Let's go out to Lloyd.
He just broke his hand.
Yeah, I know.
Bob, he's out for a month.
But he's still shown me a lot prior to that. Let's go to Lloyd in North Hills, Andrew. Lloyd, you're up. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing there, Bob and Andrew?
Good.
I like to ask the question about our defensive line. After Derrick Henry racked up 275 yards on us in the playoff game, just flat out embarrassed us. So did Lamar. And we had an opportunity in free agency to be able to address the line, the defensive line, with Pro Bowl players, proven Pro Bowl players, with two guys, Jalen Hargrove and Allen. I don't know his first name. I know his last name is Allen. They now both play for Minnesota. Minnesota was able to afford them. How come we couldn't afford them when we needed them?
Well, first of all, they've been through that with Hargrave before. The price probably for him was a little too high. I think they obviously were going to draft guys, and they did. So that's the route they chose on that. As far as Baltimore, you mentioned what happened last year, and certainly the Steelers have got to get better. Minnesota's coming off a 169-yard performance last week. They're going to test the Steelers in every way in that run defense. But, bottom line there is I think, and what was I talking about? He's talking about offense and defense. Oh, he's talking about running backs. I agree with you about running backs. I think they should have done a little bit more in that department, Andrew, just because it's Warren and Gainwell. That's pretty much it. Caleb Johnson, who they drafted and thought would be a contributor, so far hasn't had a chance, and I wonder if he's going to get one this week.
I don't think he will. I really don't.
When do you
don't
put him
see
back in,
getting
though?
thrown
I
in.
mean, at some point you can't give up on a guy.
I totally agree with that. That's why I would have found a way. Although, you know, with the way they ran the ball in that game against New England, now they got to it early in the game. It was effective early, and then it wasn't effective at all. And I just didn't think, given the way that game was going, necessarily that, you know, it's tough. It really is tough, because I don't think Caleb Johnson looked good in the preseason as a running back, not as a return man, but as a running back. Right. I thought he struggled. But he's a guy that needs a lot of touches to be good. That was his body of work at Iowa. He's a volume back. And so that makes it difficult for him to kind of get mixed in there. They did not run a system at Iowa where they played 2 or 3 guys. He was the back there. And so I think it's harder for him to adjust to the NFL where they're using 2 or 3 players. Mm-hmm. Bob, I don't know. Trey Sermon was active on game day. We might not see, it might be a Roman Wilson situation all over again, this time at running back. I really feel that way right now, and I don't think that that's good in the long term for the development and growth of Caleb Johnson.
I would agree with that. I saw that Jaylen Warren had many more snaps compared to Kenneth Gainwell, who had more the previous week. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk more about that. Also talk about maybe a Ryder Cup prediction. And Andrew's teammate up at the PM team made some golf news locally. We'll talk about that next. All right, welcome back. We continue here as we talk real quick about a Ryder Cup, and I'll bring this up because Chris Muller won a local thing at my club, at Chartiers Country Club. He went a lone net for a stable forward, shot a 78, and had 38 points in that system. And congratulations on his success there, Andrew.
Yeah, and I don't know if he was auditioning for Keegan Bradley to make him a captain's pick this weekend's Ryder Cup. Maybe he was.
No, Keegan didn't even pick himself, so I thought that was a long shot. Real quick, do you think
Let me tell you something right
himself?
now. No, because I agree with what you said. You persuaded me. You know, now he can focus on being a coach and not worrying about his own play. I think Europe's going to win. This is the most talented European team of all time. And I think they're going on the road and they're winning in a hostile environment at Bethpage Black, Bob.
Yeah, it's been hostile for sure, and even today at a practice round I saw a lot of video where those guys were getting on certain players. But I will say this, Europe won a couple of years ago in Italy, and we'll see what they do this year. I'm picking the USA. I like it. Ben Griffin is going to be my star, a rookie taking center stage. Pony, thank you very much as always.
Bob, enjoy Ireland. I'll see you when you get back.
All right, will do. Rich Walsh and I will be there for KDKA-TV, and we'll be out there starting with coverage on Thursday. Thanks to Andrew Fillipponi. I'm Bob Pompeani. We'll see you tomorrow. We're right here at 10:35. Good night.